Hello everybody and welcome back to the Panel by Panel Comics YouTube channel with me, your host Jay. Today is my Panel by Panel comic review, so let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we get started, if you are new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button as well so you never miss out on a new comic book video. I post nearly daily all throughout the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays, with shorts posted all throughout. I got 15 books to talk about today, so let's go ahead and get started with number 15. We have Black Cat. This is issue number 10. Now, it wasn't my favorite book, mainly because the story itself kind of ended on a bit of a lull. We learn who the person that was blackmailing MJ in this issue, and the person reveal was just not for me. But the art was good all throughout. The J. Jonah Jameson side of him showing that he's collected all this dirt on a whole bunch of different people was also interesting. MJ and Felicia are great all throughout the issue, and it could have been a lot better. There just wasn't a whole lot of moments where I felt like, oh, this is a really good issue. This is an issue that I would go back and read again. This is an issue that I won't forget. No, there was absolutely none of that. It could have been a lot better. The best parts were just MJ and Felicia just talking together and just being best friends. That was easily the best part of this issue. But then we find out that the person that was blackmailing MJ was just this girl that I don't even know if they said that what her name was, but a girl that went for an audition the same time as MJ, and she did not get the part. And it was kind of stupid, in my personal opinion. I didn't like it whatsoever, and it didn't end up being anything because she ended up posting it on the internet anyways, and MJ wasn't all that mad about it. It felt like the whole previous issues that we've been reading were pointless, and that's why Black Cat comes in 15th for me, and it's also a C. Not a good book. Hopefully it continues going, though, well with the Punisher arc coming up. And G. Willow Wilson, I have complete faith in her, no doubt. Next, I have Supergirl. This is issue number 13, correct? This is At the Mercy of the Black Flame. This is another issue, another series where I just did not care for the story. You see Supergirl still battling the Black Flame, still battling in the bottle of Candor, going against the Black Flame, and she's just desecrating both Supergirl and all those clones of Kid Lightning or Thunder. Can't remember what his name was. And we see Supergirl say, well, I can go fight her, or I can go and try to save Lesla, because that's all I really want. And she does have this point in the series where she's like, I miss home. I miss the city of Argo, the lost city of Argo. And you get some Connor in there. You get some of Lex Luthor's daughter as well. It was all right. The artwork from Sophie Campbell is good. It fits the series. It fits the tone. But we have Supergirl talking to Lesla, and Lesla's like, it's hard not to go with the Black Flame, or with whatever her name is, Zora. And Lesla's just there like, it's intoxicating being around her. Somebody that's so confident, somebody that's so stronger, so much more charismatic, more capable than I could ever be. And Supergirl's like, yeah, I know how that feels. I guess we both have cousins that sort of overshadow us. And that's where Supergirl and Lesla really do get along in this series. They just are two cousins that get overlooked by their other cousin. And that's where they bond, and Lesla's like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Let's go ahead and get you out of here. But before I get you out of there, I gotta show you this thing hidden underneath the bottle of Candor. And what do they find? Well, it's kind of crazy. This is a spoiler reveal for anybody that's been reading this series and has not read this most recent issue. They find the lost city of Argo. Argo City was just underneath the bottle of Candor City the entire time. That was really cool. That's the only reason it comes in at 14th, because the end reveal was worth it. Compare that to Black Cat, where it was not. Supergirl still, for me, comes in at 14th, and it is still a C comic book. I'm looking forward to the future issues with this Sophie Campbell run. Hopefully it continues to go strong, or maybe it doesn't, and I have to unfortunately drop the series. We'll see, though. Coming in at 13th, we have Null. This is issue number 5, the finale to this mini-series leading into the Queen in Black event. So we get another battle between Null and Thanos. Kind of boring, but it's always fun seeing these two hash it out. At the beginning, Thanos gets ahead of Null starts beating him up. He's like, I'm going to use any weapon at my disposal. It does not matter. You already killed me once. I'm going to kill you this time. And he does end up stabbing Null. This is a really good 2-page spread here. Thanos just stabbing Null with his own light sword, his own light weapon, saber, whatever you want to call it. And then Null's like, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then he just takes it out of him or whatever, and then ends up attacking Thanos. And whenever he attacks Thanos, he goes with a final kill and stabs him through the head. And it is confirmed in this issue, Thanos is dead. Thanos is no more, unless he's going to be he's probably going to be recovered or reelected or whatever you want to say. Resurrected, that's the right word. But then we see Null, he doesn't care about Thanos anymore. He's waiting later for Hela. He is now going to go and he's going to take his planet, his new powers, his new army that he gets back from Thanos, and he's going for the planet Earth to enact his revenge on all the people that wronged him, while Hela is going on retreat and looking for a different planet to go and get her armor and her army ready for in the Queen in Black event. Null was an okay book this week. It wasn't my best, but it was a good finale by Al Ewing, and therefore it gets a C+ coming in at 13th place. Not great, not bad. Next, we have Transformers. Now, this one might be coming in pretty low for a lot of y'all. Y'all might have really enjoyed it. Me personally, this was probably one of the most weakest issues of the entire series up to this point. It feels like Robert Kirkman is getting rid of a whole lot of what Daniel Warren Johnson did. A whole lot of the livelihood, a whole lot of the passion, a whole lot of just the love in this series. And he's kind of pushing it to the side and trying to push his own story, forgetting everything that happened the first 24 issues before he took over. And now he has Alita 1 as the new Prime. And also the art from Jason Howard in this issue just was not enough for me. So we focus on Alita 1 and her Autobots going back to Cybertron, and she drops them off in Decepticon territory. They're like, hey, did you teleport us to the wrong place? This is kind of bad. We should not be this far behind enemy lines. And she's like, no, I did this on purpose because I think we can beat them or something like that. It was kind of stupid. They said, I thought you said this space bridge had enough juice to get us home. Alita 1 said, I did, and it did. We're all here, are we not? I didn't say it would never be easy. We don't have time for this. We can't stay in this area. We have to move. And they said, I wish we could just fly out of here or drive out of here. And she said, no, that'd be too dangerous. We'll be better to avoid detection if we stay low. That didn't work well because Skywarp is right there waiting for them, and that all the Decepticons that could ever be in one area are there waiting for Alita 1 Prime. And it doesn't go well for them. The Decepticons start really battling with Alita 1, start whooping all the Autobots. Some of them get really badly damaged. Some really, really bad just fights go on for the Autobots. It was good action all throughout. I thought the artwork could have just been better. I don't know. Jason Howard's artwork was not it for me, especially whenever you compare it to the past with Daniel Warren Johnson, Jorge Corona, or even Dan Mora's artwork in the 2-issue little mini arc that he did with Robert Kirkman. That was a ton better than what Jason Howard showcased in this issue. And whenever Alita Prime felt like it was all going wrong for them, she takes out her spark, lifts it up, and she's like, why? Why are you not responding to me? She bangs it a couple times, and then something shines in her face, and she gets a huge boost with the Ghost of the Sword Saber helping her defeat the Decepticons, kind of. She basically kills a couple of them, whoops them enough to get them enough space to avoid losing this battle to the Decepticons. And it felt like more of a cheap way to go for Robert Kirkman. It's really cool, this sort of saber. But I don't know. I can't buy into the Alita 1 character. And she continues to kill and push through all these Decepticons, proving her strength. Then she transforms and they finally just get on out of there, which is what they should have done in the first place. But Skywarp says, don't worry, it is time to pay a visit to Alpha Trion. So that's where they're going to go in the next issue. Transformers, I'm still going to pick it up because it is a great series. I still have faith in Robert Kirkman. I'm sure it'll all come out to be good in the end. Transformers, though, for me, was still only a C+. Not a great book this week. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are thinking of the current Transformers run. Next, coming in at 11th place, just outside the top 10, I have Voyeur. This is issue number 5, a finale to this series. Now, I can't show you too much because it is all extremely explicit. It was a really good series from Leah Williams and David Baldeón. Essentially, the story is Madeline and Rook just trying to think, will we make it out of this? Will we be a couple after this? Will we live together? And Madeline is like, he doesn't know who I am. He's not going to love me for who I am whenever I tell him the truth. And Rook is hesitant, but he's also like, no, I really do care for you. I'm realizing I can't live my life without you. This experience has been life-changing. And they go throughout this heist that they are doing at the Code Kingfisher. It's all going well. And then one of the workers that was in on the job ended up calling the police, who then informed Dez, who is the main villain or antagonist in this series, who is the stepfather of Madeline, and you find out Dez is the reason that her sister died. It wasn't supposed to be her sister, it was actually supposed to be Madeline. And then whenever they get to the edge of the cliff, whenever Madeline's about to spread her ashes, which is what she was originally there for, she ends up pushing Dez off of the cliff. Dez dies, and they end up taking Rook under police control. They capture him, and he sacrifices himself. Even though Madeline and Rook were going to run away with each other, he says, get the money, do what you need, live the life that you've always wanted. He gets captured, but in the end, you see that she makes it out. She sold her art gallery to her friend to get a boatload of money from that, and all the art pieces. When I say sold, she probably is under the table sold it, so she still got all the money, but she's just transferred the name over to her friend. And then you see them on a different resort. When I say them, I mean Rook has gotten out of prison. He's got long hair. He looks completely different. And she's there working as a maid or something, and they are loving each other. And it was a really fun series. I highly recommend Voyeur. I'll show one page that doesn't have any explicits. This is just the page where she ends up pushing Dez off of the cliff, and you just see him falling to his most certain death, and she makes it out with Rook, at least kinda. That's whenever he eventually got captured. But this was a really good series. Ignition Press always killing it. I gave Voyeur a solid B. Good enough for a lot of books that came out this week. And unfortunately did not make my top 10, but 11th out of 15 is still, it's alright. It's definitely alright, especially for a smaller publisher like Ignition Press. Hey, you still came in above Transformers, a book written by Robert Kirkman. That is impressive enough. Next, we go to a different genre altogether. We have The Thing on the Doorstep. This is issue number 4, 32 pages, $4. This is the penultimate issue, as we see Edward coming to Daniel, and he's like, hey, all this terrible stuff, I can't believe I let it happen, but also you were there and you should have recognized her eyes whenever I was losing control, doing all these certain things in the car, at your house the other day, all these other separate times that we've been together, you should have recognized it, but I should have done better to not go back to her. And he's basically just ranting on and on and on about Asnatha, or Asnith, I can't remember her name. It's really difficult. But they join together, Edward and Daniel, and he's like, hey, can I stay here for the night? And they do. You find out the finances are starting to go bad for Daniel, as his financer goes to Daniel, or for Edward is going bad. The financer goes to Daniel and says, hey, all these checks that he's writing to these workers, he actually is really starting to run out of money. He ends up helping them a lot. He does some gardening. Then he goes back home to move back into his old house, and things go worse. He's starting to go crazier. He's losing his memories. He's feeling drained, and it turns out that no matter the distance, she's always going to be there, sucking the life out of him, sucking everything that she possibly can. And he's dying. So Daniel makes the hard decision, calls his doctor, all the specialists, and he puts Daniel into a psych ward. And Daniel is losing his mind. He says, she looked in my eyes, and then I was looking at me through her eyes. Please, please, please. And Daniel says, I'm sorry. There was no other choice. And then they get a call at night saying, hey, everything's looking well. It's all looking good. Maybe there's been a change for the better. We should go right away. And it looks like Daniel's not Daniel anymore, to say the least. Looks like Edward's not Edward. I keep getting their names mixed up. This is Edward, the guy that's getting the soul sucked out of him by the villain in this issue, or in this series. And it looks like he's not there anymore, trying to just play a card and try to get Daniel to get him out of prison, or out of the psych ward. The Thing on the Doorstep, really eerie, a really good written book. If you like this paranormal stuff, demons, and all that sort of stuff that go along with that, this is a pretty good book. I would highly recommend picking up the trade. Since this is a penultimate issue, the finale coming out next month, I recommend going that route rather than going issue by issue, unless you want to, unless you're one of those people that prefers collecting the individual issues. But The Thing on the Doorstep for me is going to be a solid B, still a really good horror book. Next, we have Dead by Daylight. This is issue number 2. This picks up right where we left off with the officer character of Daryl walking through the woods, coming back and giving it to his colleagues, just roughhousing them, saying, how could you do that to me? And then a female officer comes in and is like, hey, just be careful. The job's tough enough without the extra baggage. Oh, also, by the way, the chief is looking for you. So Daryl goes into the chief's office where he meets the mayor, who is actually there to congratulate Daryl. Great things, great news, keep it up. Apparently, the drug bust that they did was the largest drug bust ever for the department and even broke some county records. So Daryl gets a little bit of recognition and he earns himself the day off. Then after the long nights, Daryl finally gets to go back home. He has some words from his wife, who is deathly worried about him. But then the chief comes back and he's like, hey, we actually need to go somewhere. We need to go back to that farm. And whenever they go back, it turns out it's not really for any crimes or anything, but they're there to witness the hillbilly character slaughter these cows. And it's like, what in the world? These guys are just having a sport about this? And that was really eerie, really weird how these cops just enjoy seeing this hillbilly character who's being basically bullied and ordered around by, I assume, his mom and dad. I don't really know exactly, but they're making him show his worth to not only the parents but also to the world, I guess. And he just goes ballistic on these cows, slaughtering them, killing them all. And now these cows still were to go to the slaughterhouse, but it just feels weird. I don't quite understand it. The hillbilly and Daryl share some eye contact, maybe a bit of touch, a little bit of emotion there. But then the chief tells Daryl, hey, some drugs have actually gone missing, so if it comes to it, I'd hate to start searching homes and pose even more on your family. Like I said, I wouldn't worry, but I'm sure it'll turn up. Don't say anything about what you've seen. Yeah, it basically seems like he's getting blackmailed by the cop. But this was a really, really good issue. If you enjoy the Dead by Daylight lore, if you want to learn more about the hillbilly character, his origins before he got taken by the entity, it's really cool. This is a really good book from Titan Comics. Really good written. It makes you feel for the hillbilly character enough. The horror is good. The slaughtering is good. This was a solid B. Really good book from Titan Comics. Coming in at 8th, we have Tyler Rake, an Extraction story. This is issue number 2, another book from Ignition Press. Got a couple here in a row, but this follows Tyler Rake, and now he has to go save this female client who basically got abandoned on a mission after she was sent there to go retrieve this bag of jewels and try to save this billionaire family. And he didn't get any of that intel before he went there. He was originally supposed to be just doing this Philippines job, but since one of the female operatives, like we just saw, was sent on this mission and things go bad, now Tyler and his buddy Pudge have to go save this woman. And whenever they get there, she's hesitant, but then he explains all the details. She saves him, and they go and they bust out of this place, and Tyler is pissed whenever he finds out what they were really there for, all those jewels. They ended up hijacking this car, getting out of there. It was a really action-packed story. The action shots were really well written. Tyler's pissed whenever he gets back. He's like, how much is that bag worth? 20 million, 40 million, I don't care. Whatever it is, if you don't know how much was there, what those bastards would do for it, you effing well should have. He goes to Miss Beckard, who is the female ordering him on all these missions, telling him, hey, I bet you're enjoying all this time. She basically is like, clients withhold the story, mercs get caught in the mess. It's the nature of your beast. I'll have Nick double your fee. And Tyler said, right. Find us a place to clean up and get a few hours sleep, and make sure there are no more effing surprises. This is a really good action story from Ignition Press. Tyler Rake, an extraction story, for me, gets a solid B. A ton of really good, solid books. Nothing that was life-changing up to this point, but this is another really good, solid book, yet again from Ignition Press, coming in at, I believe, 6th place? Yes, 6th place. No, this is 7th. Yes, 7th place, we have Just Brutal. This is issue number 3 from Ignition Press. I only give this one a little bump above Tyler Rake because this is also an action-packed story. We see the mother and the father go back and battle all this out. And the dad's like, hey, do you remember whenever we killed this animal? Do you remember whenever we killed this animal? And the mother's like, no. I remember both babies fire hosing milk down your back. That time you used the wrong size bottle nipples or whatever it's called. And then he's like, oh, I don't remember that at all. And she's like, yeah, I know. And they start slaughtering all these animals. They find Gabe, who is in love with their daughter. They find that out, and he's like, oh, I am running off to her. I gotta save her. Nowhere in the world is safe with this alien being coming after you. And then she starts saying, you're the sword, I'm the shield. Stay behind me, please, for this one time ever. After the alien is like, wherever you are, come out. And he doesn't do it, and it ends up going wrong for them, like we'll see. We see that the brother and the sister have made it back to a winter cabin of Emmy's parents' house in Denver. When they get there, they end up going on this skiing trip, and they are basically filming some action scenes for their movie that they are creating. And we also see things went wrong for the mother and father. The dad dies, and I assume that the dad dies, and it looks like the mother is next. For F's sake, Dex, I do love you. I've always loved you. I can't help but love you. Then what changed? And she says, everything. Absolutely everything. And that was absolutely gut-wrenching. And then we see the sword and the wings start to pop out from the brother and sister. And that could only mean one thing. That the villain ended up winning the battle between the mother and the father. Really good issue. Dennis Hopeless does a great job with the writing, and the artwork from Brom Revel really does fit this series. And if you are looking for a just brutal family story, I highly recommend picking up the Ignition Press run with Dennis Hopeless. A great book. I gave Just Brutal a B+. Really good book from Ignition Press. They had a tremendous week. There's still one more book from Ignition Press yet to come in my top 10. But next, we go over to DC. We have The Fury of Firestorm. This is issue number 2. Another really good book from the Next Level All In 2 saga, whatever it is. I definitely butchered that. But we learn more of the Ronnie Raymond side of things in Firestorm. How he came to be, how he was before he became this entity Firestorm, when he was a kid, when he was a student at Pittsburgh, when he met Dr. Stein, how he played football, just learning more and more about the character of Ronnie Raymond. And he never felt like he was good enough to, he says this was a really, really good page of writing here from Jeff Lemire. I am Ronnie Raymond, and I am 19, and I'm struggling to just stay afloat at what my father dismissively called a second-rate school. I'm not even good enough to make the starting lineup for football. Not good enough to make the dean's list. I want to be great at something, but I'm just average. So I lie. That was really, really good. And Dr. Martin Stein, he could see all through it. And now he will see right through me. He will see nothing how I really am. Or how I nothing am. How I really am nothing. It was something phrased like that. But whenever Dr. Martin Stein finds this out, Ronnie tries to leave, but Martin's like, no, wait. I see that you have potential. Do you still want the job? And Ronnie can't believe it, but he does get offered the job. But then you see the story of how Firestorm came to be. The Martin Stein had a bunch of protesters outside. He's trying to do this science thing, which we find out is Firestorm. And there was a bomb planted inside of the department. He tries to save Ronald, but the explosion creates a reaction. A fusion creates the entity known as Firestorm. I mean, that page alone is so cool. And we see the run that they start to go on, their old school battles, the people that they faced. But then this page was really cool. He's like, Professor Stein, where are you? And you just see everything slowly start to fall out of place. Everything goes right. And then he sees the entity of Firestorm. And it looks like Firestorm kills Ronnie Raymond, or the soul of Ronnie Raymond. I'm not quite sure. But he says, I am the Firestorm. I am the Fury. And the General has nothing else left to do. That thing is out of control. Let's pray they're enough. And you see Martian Manhunters, Supergirl, Green Lantern, Flash, and even Hawkwoman, excuse me, all there looking to slow down, take out, or do whatever they can to not have the Fury of Firestorm, or Firestorm, whatever the character really is at this point, go on a rampage. This was a really, really good book. Firestorm for me is going to get a B+, a fantastic book, just outside the top 5 at the number 6 spot. But at the number 5 spot, I have an Ignition Press book. This is the last one of this episode, Arcadia. The Miranda brothers are doing a fantastic job with this series. And this book follows the story of Halu, Fix, and Rauk all going on this trip to Arcadia, trying to find where this missing city is, where they can live forever. Or not live forever, but it's just the immortal city of Arcadia. They go on this trip, a bunch of hail spikes start coming down on them, and then they get to this big old traffic situation, like, hey, what's going on? And the people there are like, some folks are staying to fight, but there's these machines, these robots, they sweep in gas, everything, wipe it clean, extermination. Everybody that's there will die. And the only way to make it through this red gas is with these masks. So they end up making a trade. Rauk gives up his bike for the 3 gas masks. Then they continue into this gas and they make it through, but then they hit something and it's a dead cow, and you see a whole bunch of dead cows all in this I don't even know the right word to say it. Just all this red gas everywhere that kills everything. And she says, oh God, I really shouldn't feel relieved they're people. But then they hear this screaming and they go inside the town and they see these aliens or whatever creatures slaughtering all these people. And it's absolutely crazy. And they said, we need to find another way through. And I just really like this page because the music that went along with it was really good. That might be some of the best parts of this series, is whenever they incorporate the music to really fit the tone of the book that they are, or what section of the book they are in. And this is when the art really started to shine through from Anaki, I believe, is the brother that does the illustrating. Yes, correct. Roy is more the writer. Anaki does both the writing and illustrating. Anaki has done such a great job with the both sides. But then whenever they get to Aston Capital on their 7th day of this journey, they get ambushed by the bikers. Rauk gets shot in, I believe, the chest or the ear, something like that. And then he's like, good thing that he misses, nothing to worry about. They find this car, they're about to get in, and then a feral bites Rauk. And it's basically like a zombie biting you. He's like, well, yet so close, so far. That's eternity for you. Turns out I'm just a failure. You can't keep selling freedom forever. Sooner or later, a feral gets you and the world laughs. Give me paper, something to write on fast so I can show you what the map to Arcadia is. And then they whip out the Neuronauton and they find out what the story of Rauk was before everything went sideways. This was really cool. They ended up shooting him in the head after saying, I love you, because nobody wants to see somebody go and be succumb to the feral. But we learn Ralph had a kid, and he had a beautiful life up until certain points, but he was kind of addicted to going to the lottery. He was a shoe shiner, so that's how he made his living. And then you see him continuously showing up to get lotto tickets, and then one day there's only one kid there, and it's the kid of Ralph, the kid of Ralph, and you find out Halu was the son of Ralph, and Ralph was his father. I mean, it was absolutely killer reading that and seeing that is actually his dad. And that was so heartbreaking for me. Arcadia, so well written, so well illustrated. Probably the most underrated book on your local comic shelf. This is great. I cannot recommend this highly anymore. This is a must read for me going on currently. Arcadia is so fantastic. I highly recommend it for the emotional bits, the action, and everything in between. It sucks that they came out in such an action-packed week, or else it definitely could have been my top pick. But it comes in at 5th as a great A- comic book. Arcadia is always a must read every single month. Next, we go over to Marvel. I believe this is our second last Marvel book. We have Iron Man, issue number 5. Joshua Williamson slowly making a banger of a series. We get the escape of Iron Man. He goes against the advanced Iron Man character, the Fixer, and Tony Stark is kind of still reeling from the loss of Adam Ware. That's a little hint for you towards what the end reveal is going to be. I'm not going to let you know the end reveal because that is a huge spoiler for this series, but we see that the bottom line for the Fixer was he had family, he had love, and that's the difference between the Fixer and Tony Stark. Iron Man, sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, but Iron Man does a tremendous job at getting all the other Stark Foundation people there, getting everybody else out and on the plane, but then there's a character that says, "You remember Seattle, Tony?" And it's Madame Mask. Not the flight, not the hotel, or even the hotel, but afterward. We ordered room service. You took me flying. You showed me the view of the city from the highest point. Iron Man says, and then you ditched me. She continues on saying, I sometimes wish I could go back there, to just that moment. And Iron Man says, we're long past that, Whitney. You've got more blood on your hands, more than usual. I'm saving Adam's body, finding the other captives, and then bringing you in. Then, even if it costs my life, I might not have my armor, but I can wait. And then Madame Mask shoots all the armor back at Tony, and she has this last thing to say to him as he gets flung out of the ship, saving his life. She says, I knew you wouldn't leave, so I had AIM give your armor one last command code. I might not be able to create a new you, but I can at least help you live. And that was absolutely insane. The helicarrier goes down, it crashes, but we learn that everything's okay. Nobody died, but then Tony gets a call from Lena, who is his new love interest, and they're going to go on a couple more dates, or at least find love, try to find something. But Tony, he's created this new thing. It's called Stark's School of Super Science. All those characters that were there at the Tony Stark Foundation, thingamabob, or whatever it was, Stark Awards, they're going to create some new ideas. Tony says, at least I can help you play a role in it. We must invest in people. If you're here to stay, let's get to work. And then I'm not going to show you the epilogue. If you want to know what happened in the epilogue, because that's going to be huge for the series of Iron Man, you got to continue to read it. You got to go pick it up from your local comic shop. If you do know what happened, wow, what a cliffhanger. And what I predicted it. Just saying, I predicted it. So if you watch my top 10 comics on what I thought was going to happen, I predicted it. What can I say? What can I say? I'm the GOAT. No, I'm kidding. It was a really good ending. Iron Man, still a great A- comic book. Yet again, another must-read anytime it is on your store shelf. Next, going over to DC, the second to last DC book, we have Bleeding Hearts. By the way, what a cover this is. I think it might be cover of the week, at least in my opinion. Bleeding Hearts comes in at number 3. We get the story continuing with Poke and Kara and her kid. Just basically Kara not being able to trust Poke. She can't trust him around rabbits, and for good reason. She's confused, but when she looks up at me with those big old eyes, and she starts to laugh, it has that laugh that I haven't heard in so long after the chaos that has been brought onto her from this world, and all the trust that she's had with these other people who have wronged us in the past. It's hard not to hear her laugh and have an imaginary tea party after what I can't believe is happening right now. I'm having a tea party with a zombie in a zombie apocalypse. So she pours herself some more coffee and just notices the comforting weight of the gun in my hand and try to leave room for the Holy Spirit, comparing it to having a dance with religious teachers around you. Poke then leaves and he tries to become a zombie, tries to forget about them, but he just can't. He has too much of a soul. He has too much of a heart. He sees a grocery store. His brother or his best friend continues to get onto him, Mush. He's like, where have you been? I haven't been able to see you. And those eyes look absolutely terrifying. That was the one true horror aspect, I think, of this whole series. Mush is actually starting to terrify me a little bit. He's just really curious on what's going on with Poke lately. And Poke sees this grocery store, gets some more food, and he's like, oh, I'll do this one last thing. I didn't get to say goodbye. I'll do this, and then everything will go fine. But then you see that little head poke around the corner. Mush is following Poke. So when Poke drops off the food, Mush comes around, and he ends up taking both Kara and Rabbits, and she knew she couldn't trust Poke after all, even though this is not what Poke wanted to happen. Such a good, well-written book. I wish I could give more of an actual story onto what happened and go through every single panel, but this is already about 30-something minutes into the video. I gotta continue to wrap this up. I have a really busy day ahead of me, but Bleeding Heart's still a tremendous book by Denise Camp. The art is always good from Morian. Bleeding Hearts for me is an A comic book, coming in at third place. Down to the final two, we have Absolute Martian Manhunter. This is issue number 11. I could not really tell you what happened in this book, but from what I read, I know it was good enough to get second place. That's all that I can really say. But the art continues to be fantastic. Javier Rodriguez has created something that nobody has ever seen, and I think that's pretty fair to say. With all these characters from Despair the Zero, Green Martian, Jean, Bridget, Tyler, all the other funky characters as well, the antagonists that are chasing him, the Apocalypse guy, the 51 Files, the guy with the drum gun. All the characters have their own personality, their own style. They're all written and drawn in different ways. And Denise Camp and Javier Rodriguez have really found a knack with this series. And it's a shame that it's ending in the next issue. We continue to see Bridget starting to actually come out of the White Martian's little smoke fugazi. She wants to see her husband. She's worrying for Tyler, but then after Tyler explains everything, it just goes perfect again. So the white smoke continues to just infiltrate her, and you continue to get John battling with Despair the Zero, who's battling with the Green Martian, and Despair is trying to tell John the truth. But is it really the truth? That's the real story with this issue. Is everything that Despair is telling him is that the Green Martian has controlled every single aspect of Jean's life. Whether it's the good in people, whether it's the decisions that they're making, the poor decisions that they're making, everything has been controlled by the Green Martian. But then some green smoke starts to poke out into Bridget, and she starts to think, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. All these friends over, there's no doors, I can't find my way out. Oh, there's an escape now with this green smoke. Suddenly I know the way forward toward, and it's blanked out by the white smoke. So smart, such well artistry and written. Jean, though, you can tell she's talking about Jean. She wants to see Jean, and Despair continues on these stories about how humans are bad. Humans are not inherently good. They don't make decisions for themselves. For others, they make it for themselves. And then Bridget walks through this snowstorm in her shorts, and she finds Jean laid out on the ground after Despair is telling him what Did you think all these cracks were just in your head? Well, they were. But what happens in your head also happens. And Bridget finds John, she cradles him, and it looks like Despair is... He's such a good character. From creating one of the most, like... They are creating one of the most iconic characters, in my opinion, with this Despair the Zero character. I would love to see it come into the main continuity DC and see how that could bring a different take to the Martian Manhunter character, get his own little series potentially with this Despair the Zero character. But anyways, this was a really good book. It comes in at second place. Absolute Martian Manhunter, for me, is an A comic book, fantastically written by Denise Camp. But it was not pick of the week. That goes to Marvel's Captain America, issue number 11. Still continuing the road to Armageddon. A fantastic series. This is Doom's Shadow, part 6. We see Captain America is terrified because the Hulk army is coming to Latveria. It's all falling apart. Red Hulk is making his stand, coming to take out the clone. Yes, the clone of Victor Von Doom. That is who that kid was at the end of the last issue. Red Hulk, he's like, I'm here for you, kid. I'm sorry I had to be this way. The man you tortured for months, do you remember me? And of course the clone does not. But then we see Widow and the other character. He's like, we need to run off. Thank God you're alive. How did that happen to Tambling? How? She says, I did it. It's what I do. Men in suits tell me to kill, and I kill. It's all I'm good for. I just wanted to be able to go home. And the dude cuts her off saying, Widow, this world is on fire. It's all fucked, and I can't do it anymore. I might need to bleep that out. This is our chance. Monsters are raining down. Death is everywhere, but these deaths can be our solution. We can die and be reborn elsewhere, together. Widow says, Charles, I guess his name is Charles, you haven't. You don't know me. I've done terrible things, and terrible things have been done to me. I'm scarred under this mask. I'm hideous. Charles continues, and he hugs her. And you can just see the eyes popping out. She's so surprised after what she just said that he is hugging her. He says, so am I. So let's be hideous together, away from death for once. And they run off together. Red Hulk is still making Doom run. He's saying, run before I catch you. I will kill you. The only bad part of this issue is there were so many ads. But then the real Captain America, Sam Wilson, sorry, Steve, shows up and he kind of helps for a little bit. And Steve tells Sam, hey, that's actually the clone of Victor Von Doom. Catches Sam off guard, but he rides him off into a little safety area. Red Hulk and Captain America are going at it, but then he goes in trying to save this one woman, this one little kid actually, it appears, and it all goes sour. Sharon, I'm sorry, I'm over here. And you see this kid covered by the shield of Captain America, but when they lift the rubble some more, huge spoiler warning, just giving you a heads up. It appears that Steve Rogers is dead. And what could that mean for the Avengers Armageddon event coming next month? I have absolutely no idea. But then Steve Rogers wakes up in hell. And yet again, another spoiler warning if you just skipped over the first one. But if you want to know, it is Doom's hell. And Steve Rogers is right in front of Dr. Doom. This is such a great book. Might be the best book going in comics. I don't know. It's always tough. It's definitely not better than Absolute Batman, but it was better than Absolute Batman this week. I will definitely give it that praise. Definitely was better than Absolute Batman issue 20, at least in my opinion. Plus, it's not damaged. That's always a bonus. But Captain America, my pick of the week, an A+ comic book, just like Absolute Martian Manhunter. But guys, let me know down in the comments what was your favorite book this week. And remember to keep reading those comics panel by panel and have a great rest of your day.